Coming to you live from our studios on Slaughterhouse Road in Belize City, this is Love Television's Evening News. We've got a full newscast for you today, so let's get you started with the headlines for today, Tuesday, May 26th. Belize and Guatemala sign amendment to 2008 special agreement. Body of missing man found. Murder statistics continue upward trend as man gunned down in Belize City. House destroyed by fire in Lord's Bank. Arson suspected and 3 men injured in weekend shootings. A Belize City man was gunned down on Friday night while another was injured in the shooting incident. Reporter Hippolyta Novello has the story.
33-year-old John Franklin was at his home on Iguana Street Extension in his yard speaking with his 20-year-old friend Aaron Flowers when a gunman surprised them and blasted several shots at their direction. Both men were hit, but Franklin died while receiving surgery at the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital.
On Friday, the 22nd of May at about 6:35 p.m., police visited the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital where they saw 33-year-old Lejeune Franklin and the 20-year-old Aaron Flowers suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Initial investigations revealed that both Flowers and Franklin were socializing inside a yard at Iguana Street Extension when they were approached by a male person who fired several shots at them, causing their injuries. Of course, they were both transported to the hospital, and Flowers remains in a critical condition at the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital. Sadly, Franklin succumbed to his injuries while undergoing treatment.
We were told that the security camera of the nearby Chinese store caught the movements of the murderer. We were not allowed to see the footage, but those who saw it told us that it showed a young man of dark complexion riding a bicycle before coming to a stop in front of the yard. The shooter reportedly parked his bicycle, casually entered the yard, and bombarded the men with a barrage of bullets. We were told that the gunman then ran back to his bicycle, and as he was riding off, his gun fell to the ground. By this time, the sound of gunfire caught the attention of the neighbors, who saw the gunman ride off after picking up his gun. Seconds after, news of a murder on Iguana Street Extension raced to the homes of all residents. But who would want to kill Franklin and why? We spoke to his friend Lancelot Flowers.
My little boy, for he young now, my smart ballet a ton of birds. But like many other, they get us gone the wrong road, the street life, my little boy, I get shot up 2 times already. So they gone. I can't figure who I want to kill my little boy, my dog, I get a sense, but you know they're far because the person do it in front of a lot of people, run up the street, drop a gun, all kind of thing. A big brother, but that one unknown. At least me unknown. When it happen, you get a sense, birds.
Franklin Flowers was still on the ground when his 4-year-old daughter ran out and stood beside him as he bled. Unbeknownst to what exactly was happening, his daughter kept his company until he was rushed to the KHMH. His last words to her were, "I love you."
We want justice for we little boy, can't kill for we little boy mercilessly front of daughter, front of everybody. And we love my little boy. Many people feel my little boy dead. My little boy, my name Lejeune. You dig Lejeune Franklin, old school nigga from the jumps. Rest in peace. Roque Rosado, all them old school niggas, you get the sense, brother. My dog, that for me real, Lejeune Franklin.
No one has been detained for this latest Belize City murder. Reporting for Love News, Hippolyta Novello.
Belize and Guatemala have signed the protocol to amend the special agreement between the two countries. On Monday, Minister of Foreign Affairs Wilfred Ellerington and his Guatemalan counterpart Carlos Raul Morales, along with the outgoing Secretary General of the Organization of American States, Jose Miguel Insulza, signed the protocol to amend the special agreement between Belize and Guatemala to submit Guatemala's territorial, insular, and maritime claim to the International Court of Justice. Minister Ellerington is quoted as saying, for Belize, the claim has been a blighted colonial legacy, which has stymied for far too long the growth and development of Belize. He went on to say the government is resolved to put this Guatemalan claim behind us as early as possible and is irrevocably committed to being bound by the decision of the Belizean electorate on this claim as manifested in a referendum. In his remarks, OES Secretary General Insulza said the Belize-Guatemala process is one of the most important tasks of the organization and one to which they have assigned the highest priority in the General Secretariat. The Guatemalan Foreign Minister presented the notes confirming the completion of Guatemala's internal procedures to enable the implementation of 9 of the 13 cooperation agreements that were signed last December in Placencia. He reiterated his country's firm commitment to the peaceful resolution of the dispute and the urgency of doing so at the only competent court for such matters, the International Court of Justice. Minister Elrington was accompanied at the signing ceremony by CEO His Excellency Lawrence Sylvester, Ambassador Stuart Leslie, Ambassador Alexis Rosado, and other members of the staff at the Embassy of Belize. The body of a resident of Roaring Creek Village in the Cayo district who had been reported missing was found earlier today. With that story, we join our correspondent, Fem Cruz.
The lifeless body of 28-year-old Edilberto Madrid, a resident of Roaring Creek Village, who was reported missing by his common law wife, Julie Fernandez, on Sunday morning, May 24, was found brutally murdered this morning, May 26, sometime around 11 o'clock, floating in the Belize Old River about 200 yards away from the Agopino Cowich Bridge in the Youngbank area of Camalote Village. Love News spoke to the sister of the deceased, Leone Bejerano.
We give God thanks for closure. May he rest in peace. The search started this morning, and then about 11 o'clock we found his body, and I came down to the river to identify his body. He went missing from Sunday morning, 7 o'clock. He was at my sister's house in Youngbank area. Whoever did this brutal murder to my brother, we know we got closure, and I know you are carrying his sins, and hopefully my family is strong enough to see this, because it wasn't a good condition for me to see, but I was the strongest one down here. So
Tell us what you saw.
I saw the lifeless body of my brother. He had his 2 hands was cut off along with his 2 foot and his head. He was open from about his throat down to his navel.
This is Brother Fem Cruz reporting from the Youngbank area here in Camalote for Love FM.
Apart from the shooting of Lijon Franklin on Friday evening, Belize City Police are investigating 3 other shooting incidents and a stabbing incident. A 16-year-old boy has been arrested by Belize City Police following a shooting incident. Police say that on Saturday night they responded to a shooting on Amara Avenue in Belize City, where they saw the windshield of a vehicle damaged. Quick police response led to the arrest of a 16-year-old minor and the recovery of a 9mm firearm. Police Press Officer Rafael Martinez told us about the stabbing incident and the other 2 shooting incidents in Belize City.
At about 3:15 on Sunday morning, the 24th of May, police visited the Carl Hushner Memorial Hospital, where they saw 24-year-old Sean Pascasio suffering from multiple stab wounds. Initial investigations revealed that Sean was standing outside a popular nightclub on Newtown Barracks when he was approached by personal persons, and a struggle ensued between them, resulting in Sean being stabbed multiple times. Presently, he is still at the Carl Hushner Memorial Hospital in a critical condition. The next shooting incident I want to report on this morning, on the 24th of May, on Sunday at about 8 o'clock in the evening, police responded to several shots being fired on Arlington Drive in Belize City, and when they went to the location, they recovered several expended 9mm shells or empty casing, and what transpired was that a man was driving his vehicle on that area, Arlington Drive, when several shots were fired at his vehicle, causing several bullet holes in the sides of his vehicle. Luckily, nobody was injured again as police investigations continue. Finally, we had a shooting incident on Monday, the 25th. Again, police visited the Carl Hushner Memorial Hospital where they saw 27-year-old Mark Gentle and 34-year-old Calvin Comabach, both of a Cesar Ridge address here in Belize City, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Initial investigations revealed that both men were sitting on the steps in front of their residence on Cesar Ridge Road when a vehicle passed and two men reportedly fired several shots at them, causing their injuries. Comabach was treated and released. Sadly, Gentle remains at the Carl Hushner Memorial Hospital in a critical condition.
Police investigations continue. A family of 4 from Lord's Bank in Ladyville Village, Belize District was left homeless after their home was destroyed by fire on Monday night. With that story, we join reporter Hippolyta Novello.
29-year-old Dorian Russell, his 3 daughters and his wife were all left homeless last night after a fire destroyed their home in Lord's Bank Village. Russell left his home along with his family at about 7:30 to go buy food. 15 minutes later, he was alerted that his house was on fire.
Right, so when I came back, the whole house was on fire. And called the fire truck and we tried to save it, but there was nothing to save.
And at that point, when you came back with your family, did you try to out of the fire? What went through your mind? What sort of action did you take?
Because I got my little puppy inside, and so I was bawling, and so I'm trying to get it out. By the time I went there, we couldn't even come to the yard, if you can see how far the fire was.
The fire started in the northwest portion of the house, and fire officials told of news that they suspect it to be an incendiary fire. But who would want to burn down Russell's house and why? In terms of what caused the fire, what are the firefighters officials are saying?
I say somebody actually started this fire.
You mean arson? Do you know who would want to burn down your house?
I really don't know. If I would have known, I'd have told the police, because it's a job for the police, so I don't see them doing their job right now. I know what's happening.
Do you know why would they want to burn down your house?
I don't know. All I do is try to make my little hustle, sell my little bottles and so. And what? I don't harm nobody. I got my 3 kids, my 3 daughters. I don't try to mess with nobody out here.
So everything completely destroyed. At the moment, the Russell family is staying at their neighbors. Russell built his house 3 years ago, and it took the fire to destroy everything in less than 30 minutes. They now need your kind assistance to get back on their feet.
First thing that run through my mind is my kids, man. They don't even got nothing now. Yes, and school is right here. All the documents, all the school things went down in the fire. My whole life's work.
What exactly do you need urgently?
Anything, man, because what? My kids ain't even got no clothes, nothing. A house. I just want anybody because listening, just trying and bored, anything, man. Sink, anything, just trying to put back something for my kids.
The police have been called to investigate. The estimated value of damage is about $20,000. If you would want to help the Russell family, you can contact them at cell phone number 667-3066. Reporting for Love News, Hippolyta Novello.
Since the amendments to the Firearm Act has been in place, countless concerns of innocent people being taken into custody for being in the residence or the presence of an illegal firearm has mounted. On April 18, 2012, 6 persons, including Allison Major Sr., were charged for such an offense after officers of the Gang Suppression Unit, GSU, conducted a search at a Peter Seco Street residence where they discovered a double-barrel shotgun, reportedly to have been stolen, and a 16-gauge shotgun and ammunition. A family of 5 were originally arrested and charged. Then, 19-year-old Kent Lynch took responsibility for illegal possession of the weapons. Major, however, was still dragged to court and remanded to the Belize Central Prison despite not residing at the address. Alison Major was acquitted of the charges against him and is now suing the government of Belize and challenging the Firearms Act. Trial began today in the courtroom of Justice Michelle Arana, and attorney Anthony Sylvester explained that Major's two main arguments include unlawful detention and the violation of his constitutional rights.
We're in court making principally two arguments. They're very detailed and lengthy arguments, but they're in substantive form, very brief. One, that his right, his constitutional right not to be arrested, not to be detained, not to lose his freedom unless there's reasonable suspicion. That right was violated. There was no reasonable suspicion for this man to have been arrested and detained and carted off of prison for 38 days. He didn't have the ability to secure an attorney, and so he had to wait 38 days until his family could pull together some monies to be able to secure an attorney to obtain bail in the Supreme Court. That is an injustice. That is something which happens on a day-to-day basis, and Mr. Major has taken the brave challenge to bring this matter to court. We've also challenged his right to be presumed innocent. The law under consideration also makes it mandatory that, look, in addition to deeming you to be in possession of illegal firearm and ammunition, you have to now go to a court and then prove your innocence. So Major went through a full trial. He was able to be acquitted, but a citizen should not be put through that where they would have to obtain the service of an attorney.
Sylvester says that there was no evidentiary support for Major's unlawful detention.
Section 5(1)(e), that's the right of a person to not be deprived of your personal liberty except the authorities have reasonable suspicion that you have committed an offense or you are about to commit an offense. In this case, he wasn't present when they found the firearm. He now lived at the premises. Some people were charged, taken to court, one pleaded guilty. So in no circumstances could it be said that there was reasonable basis for him to have been charged. So that violation of that, in our view, is very clear. Also, you have a right to not be presumed guilty. There's a presumption of innocence. But if you are deemed to be guilty, as the law does, and you have to prove your innocence, then what it does is it reverses that constitutional right, and it places you in a position, as I explained, where you have to go look for a lawyer to defend yourself. And everybody have the luxury and have the means to be able to obtain an attorney. And those are the grave injustices that clearly ordinary Belizeans on each passing day are subject to.
Major is seeking special damages, which include loss of earnings and vindicated damages. Justice Arana reserved judgment after arguments concluded this afternoon. Attorneys for the government and the officers from GSU, which conducted the raid, are Deputy Solicitor General Nigel Hawke and Crown Counsel Rave Gonzalez. A recently damaged boat that was grounded off the coast of Toledo remains an eyesore and hazard at the northern entrance to Punta Gorda. We hear more in this report from correspondent Paul Mahang.
The motor vessel named Blue, recently bought in Guatemala, was sailing from Rio Dulce, Livingston to a Placentia location for a short visit before moving on to a destination in the USA, when on the morning of April 11, the boat unfortunately received damage to the hull off Coast Toledo, where it was grounded and remained partly underwater. The wrecked vessel thereafter was posing a threat to navigational safety in off-coast Toledo area and was removed from its grounded location at sea by Belize Port Authority in Punta Gorda and brought to safe harbor, where it is grounded near Jotela Bridge and remains a sore sight and hazard to boat traffic in Jotela Creek at the northern entrance to Punta Gorda. Information here indicates that the owner of the damaged motor vessel Blue is out country and now owes the Belize Port Authority over $4,000 to defray costs of removing the wrecked vessel to safe harbor in Jotela Creek. Information here also indicates that failure by the owner to comply, motor vessel Blue will be sold by public auction by order of Belize Port Authority. Reporting for Love News, Paul Mahone, Punta.
This is the evening news on Love Television. Professor Neville Duncan to conduct series of discussions on social entrepreneurship. Motorcycle accident leaves 2 people injured. Belize City man charged for attempted murder and 4 Chinese nationals charged with firearm offenses. Professor Neville Duncan of the University of the West Indies is in Belize at the invitation of the Anglican Diocese as part of the Church's efforts in finding solutions and harnessing community cooperation towards the alleviation of social problems in the country. Professor Duncan comes with a strategy dubbed social entrepreneurship, which is an attempt at finding innovative solutions to social problems. Bishop Philip Wright, head of the Anglican Church in Belize, told Love News that he has worked closely with Professor Duncan to incorporate the teachings of the Church in his presentations.
I believe at a time when the Church has been challenging its own members to perhaps be a bit more proactive in how they manage their affairs and how they can improve the equity of their lives and so on, we feel that the visit of the professor is a timely one in that his message is one about, the social entrepreneurship and the whole bit of about being socially conscious and being socially responsible. Professor has been working with the regional church, which is the province of the West Indies, in helping us to design our upcoming synod in November, which is one of our major meetings. And through that contact, we were able to extend an invitation for him to come to Belize, and we're happy he did accept the invitation. I'm hoping he will help the church, among other groups, to communicate this message that we can indeed take greater responsibility for our affairs and our well-being and our future. And I think that is a message very much needed in this time.
The idea behind the social entrepreneurship program is to foster and encourage entrepreneurship, and according to Professor Neville Duncan, his outreach will be aimed at proposing ways in which entrepreneurs can create value and profit.
I want to propose a way of creating value for oneself and for others through the adoption of a business model. That business model includes you're making a profit, not making a sacrifice, not being engaged in charity, but something that says I create value for you that you want and need and you hunger for, and I create value for me by giving myself a profit.
Duncan, who has written several books and papers on socio-political perspectives, governance, democracy, among other issues, says his initiative to educate people on the importance of social entrepreneurship comes from his very own experiences.
I retired from the University of the West Indies, and I decided I wanted to go into business, and I regretted not having gone into business from I was a little boy. Of course, the lessons are hard to learn, and so I thought maybe what we need would be to have a social enterprise model operating within the framework of a business model of creating value. And the more we can do this, the more that everybody, from the school dropout right out to the highest level of university graduate, can want to participate in social entrepreneurship and to elevate business and business ethics to its appropriate level. It's no longer Shylock robbing from the poor and weak and taking an ounce of flesh. It is one where you help each other to succeed and to produce value for the community and for the society at large.
On Wednesday, May 27, Professor Neville Duncan will be making an address to the Rotary Club, and on Thursday, May 28, to the Chamber of Commerce at the Belize Biltmore Plaza Hotel. One person is in a serious condition at the Carl Hushner Memorial Hospital, and another is in a stable condition at the Western Regional Hospital following a motorcycle accident in Tea Kettle Village, Cayo District. On Sunday night, 25 Year-old Jose Orellano was at a bar in Tea Kettle Village when sometime around 11:30 he left and was driving to his home in Ontario Village along with 20-year-old Daniel Gonzalez when he lost control of the motorcycle and collided into a black Honda CRV which was coming in the opposite direction. Orellano was flung into the air and hit the pavement. He received serious head and body injuries. Gonzalez received injuries to the face and shoulder. Driving the black Honda CRV was 19-year-old Chris Sanchez of Pomona Village, Stan Creek District. He received minor injuries. 4 Chinese nationals were charged with firearm offenses. Elaine Berry has that story.
Some team visited the home of Andy Chen in the Loma del Rodio area and conducted a search. Present at the home were 24-year-old Hu Hu Chen, naturalized Belizean businessman, Ziba Leng, 29 years, naturalized Belizean businessman, and Rufa Hu, 26 years, Chinese businessman. The home with division for 2 apartments were separated and were searched. The search on the first apartment was conducted and nothing incriminating was found. The second apartment was searched and police discovered 7 plants suspected to be cannabis inside the bathroom and 9 plants in the bedroom. All 4 persons were arrested and was taken to the police station, where they were all charged for cultivation. They all appear in Belmopan Magistrate Court this afternoon, where 29-year-old Andy Chen pleaded guilty to all 16 plants and was fined $10,000. This news report is being sponsored by Rock Hard Limited. Reporting for Love News, Elaine Berry, San Ignacio.
29-year-old Frederick Bradley, an unemployed who allegedly inflicted stab wounds on another man, was charged with attempted murder when he appeared today before Senior Magistrate Sharon Fraser. Bradley was also charged with dangerous harm and use of deadly means of harm. He was remanded into custody until July 28. The incident occurred around 3 a.m. on May 24. The complainant, 24-year-old Sean Pascasio, reported to police that he was standing in front of Elements nightclub on Newtown Barracks in Belize City and was socializing with friends when an argument ensued between him and Bradley. He said Bradley took out a knife and stabbed him several times in his chest area. Pascasio was admitted to ward at the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital, where his condition is reported to be critical but stable. 4 persons charged with kept firearm and ammunition without a gun license were acquitted of those charges today by Senior Magistrate Sharon Fraser. They are Shane Crawford, Judith Rock and her sons Gian Bernard and Michael Herrera. Rock's attorney, Carrie Musa, objected to the tendering of the firearm into evidence when the serial number on the gun did not match with the serial number given by the witness, Corporal Theodore Lopez. Senior Magistrate Fraser upheld the objection, and since the 5 rounds of ammunition were in the magazine of the gun, they too could not be tendered into evidence. Without the firearm and ammunition tendered into evidence, the prosecution's case fell apart, and Senior Magistrate Fraser found the defendants not guilty of the charges. Police charged the 4 on April 25, 2012, when they went to Rock's residence on Castle Street in Belize City and found a .38 pistol with 5 rounds in its magazine under a towel on a table. Only Herrera was at home at the time. 31-year-old Jermaine Rodriguez, a shopkeeper of LaCroix Boulevard in Belize City, was charged with 2 counts of drug trafficking when he appeared today before Senior Magistrate Sharon Fraser. Rodriguez pled not guilty to the charges. He was offered a bail of $5,000 and his case was adjourned until July 21. On May 21, the police went to Rodriguez's residence, and when they searched it, they found 2 parcels containing cannabis in a closed barrel. One parcel had 74 grams, while the other had 397 grams. Last Friday, just before our evening news, we were alerted of a robbery that occurred at the M&M Engineering office on the Philip Goldson Highway in Belize City. In that incident, 2 men of Creole descent, one armed with a handgun, went inside the compound and held up the employees at gunpoint. We were at the scene and had learned that one of the 2 culprits had been nabbed. Tonight, we bring you video footage of the men entering the office area last Friday as they paced the lounge area for a few seconds before they were buzzed into the office. As you can see, once they were buzzed in, they barged into the office and held up the employees of their personal items as well as the company's cash. No one was hurt in the incident, and police are continuing their investigations. As part of a project funded by the European Union to support and fight against the trafficking of firearms, the Central American for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, CASAC, has engaged its efforts in Belize. Legal officials met today to formulate a multidisciplinary commission on the trafficking of small arms in Belize. Superintendent of Police Andres McKin says in order to lessen crime and violence, they needed to formulate their plan of action.
What happened is that the program is a Central American program of which Belize is a part of. And anything that has to do with the trafficking of firearms or arms being used to commit crimes, violence, and so forth, whatever this program, because it's funded by the European Union, and whatever finances, whatever programs that will derive from it, Belize will get their fair share when it comes to finances and so forth. We have a lot of crimes that have been committed with firearms, so this program also looks into the different countries to see how best they could better off the situation when it comes to violence and with the usage of firearms and so forth. What this commission will do, I believe that we will be also, having formed this commission, I believe that we will be empowered in the near future to maybe make decisions when it comes to, the dealing with firearms overall in the country.
Earlier this month, we told you of the arrival of Southwest Airlines to our airport in October 2015 as an additional carrier, offering air transportation to and from Belize with Houston. But while tickets are already being sold online for Southwest Airlines at $127 one way, American Airlines is preparing to launch its direct flight to and from Belize and Los Angeles, USA. The direct flights to Los Angeles, California from Belize launches on Saturday, June 6, with a morning flight leaving at 8:55. Currently, tickets are available online starting at $622 round trip. Our thought conditioner for today comes from musician Stevie Wonder. He says, quote, "Music at its essence is what gives us memories, and the longer a song has existed in our lives, the more memories we have of it," end of quote. To have your thought conditioner featured in this segment of our newscast, all you have to do is send us an email. Our email address is news@lovetv.com.bz. This has been the Evening News on Love Television. Thanks for joining us. With your news, I am Renee Trujillo.